Hello everyone, welcome back to the Capacity Boost for MCVP Operations. Today we're going to talk about a topic that I'm really liking a lot. I really enjoy this, to be honest. And so we're going to talk about facilitation overall. So it's more related to public speaking and nice presentations because it's super important. When you are MCVP, you have to deliver sessions, you have to go to conferences, you have to give webinars sometimes. So it's very important that this that you are doing, that people are paying attention and that you are making it attractive, and that people actually like to hear and they are getting something out of it. That's the main thing about it. So this session is going to be a bit different. So I'm going to show you like a few situations. So first of all, in terms of facilitation, so what is a good facilitator in your opinion? Do you just think about it like right now. And now, like, there are a few things. Like, first, a good facilitator is someone who understands what the people are thinking, who understands their audience, who understands what they like, what they don't like. That's the main thing. Someone that is patient, especially when you are dealing with big plenaries or when you are dealing with an LC, for example. You need to keep your focus even if you see something, being patient about it. Someone who is a role model, because if you are a role model and you behave like a role model when you are delivering a session, then you will be more credible. Someone who knows the audience. Overall, it's connected to the part of understanding, but knowing the audience is super important. You know with whom you are talking to. So that's one of the main things here. But sometimes we are asking ourselves, is it possible to learn this power? Because sometimes a lot of people I know, a lot of people in ISEC, a lot of MCVPs, they are afraid of public speaking. And yeah, I mean, like, it's something that is taking us out of our comfort zone. But at the same time, if we consider like those small things and how to actually make sure that first you know what is happening and you know how to deliver a session, how to deliver even a topic, it can really help you a lot for your future sessions, for your future conferences. So now I'm gonna give you 3 tips for understanding and getting to know your audience. First of all, do your homework. Do your homework in terms of like, you need to know who is the target of your session from way before. When you are preparing the session, you need to know, okay, my target is for new members. Okay, then this is how I'm gonna present the topics. This is how I'm gonna give my speech. This is how everything's gonna happen. Of course, like, do your research overall and find ways to explain the topic that you need to explain. Also, something very important, I don't know, I think this is more like a personal thing. A session doesn't have to be boring. So my suggestion, and something that I personally always do for whoever has seen me facilitating, just crack some jokes here and there. Of course, like, it's some humor or general cultural references, because sometimes the people, you are explaining something very deep or very serious and people are just gonna get bored. Try to connect what you are talking about with some meme or general reference in terms of culture and so on. So you, in this way, you can read the audience. You can start testing what do they like, how do they react to these things. Exactly, see that how they react, and then based on this you are like, okay, probably I should like do more of this, probably I should talk more of this, and so on. Because a presentation is not just standing up and reading at what you wrote in the PPT, because people know how to read already. So try to actually make it more interactive in this way. And yes, don't make it too direct or desperate. Don't just crack jokes every 2 minutes, because that's also gonna be you are not a stand-up comedian. You are someone who is delivering a topic, but you need to engage the audience. So it's very important that you are having like this balance between, once that you know how to read the audience and you know how they react, it's very important like you act accordingly and you modify your speech accordingly to that. And know what they know. So because at the end, you know more than everyone else in your topic. So this is connected to understanding your audience. If you are presenting something operational, let's say SOPs, okay, then you know everything that it has to be about SOPs. but based on what your audience is. Let's say you are working with LCVPs, who these people are knowing SOPs since a long time ago. Okay, then you need to add up, and you need to show security that you know what you are doing and you know what you are talking about, and so on. So this is the most important thing when you are a facilitator as well. And make what you say understandable for everyone. Okay, let's say we're explaining SOPs to a new member who just joined ISAC 2 weeks ago. Okay, how can we explain it? First of all, going back to the know what they know, talk with the person who recruited these newbies. No, don't assume, never assume. And okay, so then we know that these people know nothing about SOPs. Alright, so how can we make it understandable for them without using a lot of crazy acronyms and technicalities and so on? So it's very important, like especially here, that you know who are your people and you also know how to deliver the message. Because at the end, if you know this, knowledge is power. And you can actually make a lot of control and the desired outcome of the session here. Patience and keeping order, there are like a few things as well, because yeah, we have a lot of sometimes when we are giving a session, we have like a lot of things that probably are not in order and so on. So it's very important to keep patience. It's very important to test how things are going. And yes, it's possible to learn this power as well. So it's very possible to learn this power. And also I'm gonna give you a few tips here. So first of all, when you are the star, you are in front of the people. If you see that people are not paying attention or are playing games, it's because like you are doing something that is not very good. So you are the star, you are the person who is in front of everyone, and you are the person that people are listening to. So you have control of the audience. But there are some things to do it, there are some ways to do it in order for you to actually be the star. First of all, voice tone control. In this case, when you are talking, you are delivering a session, you can modify your voice tone. Let's say you are explaining a topic and then you see that people are not paying attention. So then you higher your voice. So you are talking and talk louder. So in this case, people are like, okay, reacting towards it. So yeah, or let's say you are talking a bit like lower, and then people start not understanding what you are saying, and it makes them pay more attention. It really depends like how the audience is behaving in that moment. The presence. So you don't have to just stand in the front, and you just don't have to stand in the front and just stay there for like 1 hour that you are delivering a session. You need to be in the session. You need to walk around people when you are talking. So you are like the audience are feeling that you are there, not just in front delivering a topic, but you are walking next to them. You are like passing by. So that really increases like how you can actually control the plenary. The movement as well, not just the movement of yourself going through places, but also the movement of your hands when you are explaining a topic. The movement of overall the movement of your hands, so makes people like put more emphasis, for example, in some word, in some other word, and so on. And this is super important. And the sight, the sight is the best thing, because if people are paying attention to you, you are looking at everyone. So you need to keep the eye contact, especially if you see that something is not good, if someone is not paying attention, or if someone is distracted. You can just, while you are presenting your topic or your session, just put your eyes in that person, and then instantly this person, when you are looking at them, they are gonna feel everything on them, the presence, the movement, the voice tone control. So in this way, because you are talking to the people, and you need to make sure that they feel that you are the facilitator, and this helps a lot while looking at them, because our eyes, when we do when we look someone in the eyes, it's really powerful, and it can really help you a lot when you are delivering a session as well, to get the attention. And being a role model overall is that you are practicing what you are presenting. Let's say that it's a lead session, let's say that it's an operational session and so on. It's very important that, you are talking, and that you are talking about the things, and people know that you are doing these things. So this is the most important part, because if you are not practicing what you are preaching, then you are not a role model and you are not credible. So it's important as well to follow these things. Cool. But now something that is also very important, extremely important. Yes, having a nice presentation really helps a lot. So I'm gonna give you like a few tips and tricks about presentation, and we're gonna start very basic actually. So in terms of being more basic, so what we can do first is like, yes, when you open PPT or presentation, I use PPT. This is the first thing that says like the font and these kind of things. So I'm gonna show you how to at least work in your presentation skills, at least like try to get some resources and so on. There are three main things to consider: background and visuals, fonts, and designs overall. So right now, as you can see, it's black and white. It's like you just open PowerPoint and this is the first thing that shows to you. So in terms of background and visuals, yes, something that is super important and super powerful here when you are like working on this is that you are working with color palettes. So a color palette, it's the color has like different shades or different other colors that can combine together. So this is a color palette that I chose for this presentation, and you can define different color palettes in the following links here. So you can just go there and you can just select there, because for example sometimes it's very weird when you are putting colors that are not matching that much or colors that are not combining. So that's why like first the main thing is like what people are going to say first, and it's the background or the design or the color itself. So this is like a color palette and you can find different ones there. So once that you have a color palette and that you have a color, there are a few examples here. So make sure that the color of the font is visible compared to the background. So here we are using white letters and then black letters on top of white background, but please avoid things like this. So if it's white background and you're writing gray, it's not good. If it's like white and this orange-ish, is also, it gets lost, especially when you are doing with a projector that probably like the lumen or the power of the projector is not that strong. You need to avoid these things. You can do variations here. So for example, like it doesn't have to be always like black on top of white, but also you can choose other stronger colors for it. Or that is also another different example when you are having like highlighting a text. Let's say the text is white, the background is white, but you are doing some kind of shade into the text. That's also really, really cool. Using images and GIFs. Now as you can see, we are keeping the same color, we put an image there, and GIFs. So main important thing, rule number one, never ever please take images from Google Images. Please. Why? First of all, because sometimes these images are not, their quality is not high enough, and other times it's very difficult in terms of copyright. So there are a few sites that you can take images. So also make sure that the image that you're using makes sense with the presentation topic. So if you're talking about, I don't know, like workflow or like time management, and then you are putting something like super different, like I don't know, a city, then okay, what is the point of that? You can use images as background, just make sure to add a filter on top in order to highlight your text. For example, like here, I use the filter, the kind of like the color that we had in the previous slides, and in this way, for example, if I remove the filter, then this text is not going to be visible anymore. You can add GIFs to your PPTs, just make sure that the audience don't get lost by looking at the GIFs. So it's very important when you're explaining something, you have a GIF running around behind you, people are just going to look at that, and also it gets distracting a bit. So try to avoid them like as much as you can as well. So yeah. And look for flat design GIFs. So these are very important. It can really give you a very nice, let's say, very nice contrast in terms of like how the PPT and a GIF works. And here in these links you can find places where you can find images that are like free of copyright and that have a very, very good quality. Same with GIFs. So yes, now we go to the next part, which is, first of all, yes, we have a GIF. This is how you not use a GIF. Why? Because you can see, like, it's very weird that it's like white background and then this blue and so on and squared, and I don't know, it doesn't look very appealing. But this is how you actually use a GIF, because as you can see in terms of background, it makes a lot of sense and makes the presentation more smooth. So, and this GIF is just like this part. What I did is just like change the background color to the color of the background of this GIF, and in that way we can really work a lot. We can really work better, and it looks way nicer. Also, using logos is respect the branding rules of the logo that you are using. For example, when you are using ISEC logo or ISEC branding, always refer to the blue book. Do not change the size and stretch of the logo if you are using any other logo. It's super important, because that's why like the logos are, and they are branded, and there are branding rules for that. For example, we have ISEC logo, but if we do this, it's wrong, or this is wrong, we don't do that here. Never, please don't do it. Or this is super wrong, so let's avoid this. Alright? We don't do that here. We really don't do that here. Cool. Now when you are using charts, also like we have like same. When we are talking about charts, we really need to consider the background that we are using. For example, this is a very interesting chart, but it will be nicer if we have a different background. So in this case, it doesn't look very nice. But in this case, it's also like matching a bit with the colors of our color palette. It's a white background, and it's very direct on what we are saying here, and it's very, very visible, like what you want to achieve here. So this is good. Now fonts. Fonts are a very important aspect of a presentation. So if you want to make something like very, impactful, or something that people are paying more attention, you can use different fonts. For example, try to use maximum 2 types of fonts in your slide. As you can see, I changed the font here down, and I have a different font here, and the background is still the same as color palette. So yeah, just make sure that this is okay. This is like, in a good way, and so on, because if you add more fonts, more than 2 fonts, then it's going to be like sometimes a mess. And I'm going to show you how. Never, please, rule number 1 about fonts, we don't use Comic Sans. I know it seems like a fun font, but it's not, and it's not very professional, so we don't do that here. Yeah, text and fonts are different font families. Yeah, sometimes there are fonts that are like very concrete, and they have font families, so you can show different sizes there. You can play with those to highlight text ideas. For example, Lato is a Lato family font, but then you have like different ones. So you have Lato Black, Hairline Light, and then you can play also with this, because at the end of the day it's the same font, and it can really help you to highlight things. In terms of design, so it's very important that, in terms of design, you really know how to use PowerPoint. So if you go to PowerPoint, for example, like I'm going to show you here. So I'm going to show you here. If you can see my PowerPoint screen, you will see that there are like a few blocks here. So what I'm doing here mainly is that in terms of like in view, you can also select a lot of things here. For example, like you can see how this thing looks. So you are dividing your presentation in a way. So you can have a ruler on top if you want to have like things more clear. You can have grid lines. These grid lines are really helping me a lot when I'm designing presentations, because it's really helping to measure things. So for example, if I want to put a square here and also another square here, then it's very easy for me to measure like the grid and how to have everything centered. And the guides. So for example, I'm gonna move this thing here, this text, and it's, as you can see, it's in the center. But if I move somewhere else, you can see that it's helping me to guide it and to put it to good. So it's really good actually when you are doing presentations. because this you don't have to be a master in presentations or something like that. Just use the tools that PowerPoint is giving you. It's just very easy, like ruler, grid lines, guides, and so on. There are also another more advanced techniques like slide master, when you can just create yourself a full slide template and so on. But yeah, it's very important that you are considering like these things when you are making your presentations. And now talking about, this was mainly it. But if you have any further questions, please reach out to me. And yes, let's have amazing presentations, let's have amazing facilitation skills, and go take the quiz now. Thank you very much. And that was it.